Okay, so we've got for this segment we want to talk a little bit about the Kingston football scene at the local amateur level, and we've got a special guest joining us on the show, the head coach for the Queens Golden Gales, Pat Sheahan. Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, fellas.
So we wanted to ask you, Kingston's kind of a unique destination to play CIS football, but also it's really coming on as a place for minor football. So we were wondering if you could give us a little bit of an idea of what the landscape's like there for amateur football.
Well, we have a terrific minor football system here. Both the east end and the west end of the city both have minor football associations. I believe in any given year there's somewhere upwards in the neighborhood of 500 kids here locally that are playing minor football. These programs feed right into the high school system. That's made our junior football programs in high school much better. And of course, if you've got good junior football programs, you've got good senior football programs. And the high school programs are developing, a lot of good players here. Also, the advent of the Limestone Grenadiers has been another godsend to local football here. Since the program came into existence, it has generated a number of players who've gone on and played in the CIS, and it's become a breeding ground. I suppose the highest profile player might be Corey Greenwood, who went on and won the Metris Trophy at Concordia and then had a 3-year career in the NFL. But there are a number of others who have also gone on and had great careers at a variety of CIS schools. The program itself is composed of a lot of, former high school teachers from the area, so the liaison between the high schools and the community football is very strong and very positive here. Certainly we've had our fair share of Grenadiers come on and wear, the gold jerseys here at Queens, and we're very proud of every time we put a local player on the field. So, it's been a great addition to the local football model, and it's made the local football area, much stronger.
That's great to hear. Certainly, and that can be kind of paralleled in their success in the OVFL. You're starting to see some of these teams really compete now and go into the playoffs. So that's something I don't think we were seeing, even 5 years ago, right?
Well, I think that, in a community of our size, the success of the team is going to be somewhat cyclical. Because, we don't have as large a pool to draw from perhaps as some of the larger urban areas, but I think they've done a great job of competing. I think they've come close a couple of times, so it's a great thing. The interest level in football is high, and there are a lot of great players developing in the system here, so I think you're going to see a lot of kids coming out of the Kingston area and going on and playing competitive football for years to come.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We can't have you on the show without you and Nate at the same time without talking about a little bit about the OUA. Want to talk about how you guys look heading into 2015, and maybe talk a little bit about both of you guys about the game you had this year and what's to look forward to for this rivalry.
Sure. Well, I think that, the OUA has become an extremely competitive conference. There's no question about that. Every aspect of it is competitive. The games are competitive. The recruiting is competitive. The coaching is competitive. And, that just breeds, quality entertainment. There's a lot of outstanding, great young student athletes, participating in the league. I think there's some great skill. I think it's developing rapidly. I think a number of our players are certainly being sought after by professional teams. We're delighted to have Matt O'Donnell just signed with the Cincinnati Bengals again this year, and he's not the only one. They're becoming more and more CIS athletes, getting serious looks in the NFL. I think there's been a steady flow of CIS athletes go on and play in the CFL, and just a lot of great players. And really, it's sort of regaining a little bit of its mystique. I think, from one year to the next, you never know who's going to be in the AIDS Cup. You never know who's going to win it. So I think a truly great league has multiple winners over a 5 or 10 year period, and I think we're approaching that point in the league right now.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Nate?
No, I absolutely agree. I mean, going through the recruiting process for myself, I mean, it was normally 1 or 2 teams sort of at the top, but you started to see the trend. Now every game's getting competitive. You go into a year thinking you see one clear favorite, and I mean, last year I think many people would have said Western was that clear favorite, and then you see them get knocked off in whichever week they played MAC. I think it was 3 or 4 or 5, and you see things kind of start to turn like that, and it's a nice sight for sure. I mean, more competitions, the better. And a lot of people were thinking the RSEQ was the competitive league, the only one without a lot of parity, but you see the same winner coming out of there every year, and hopefully the OUA is going to be the real money ticket going forward.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing that OUA schedule come out and see when you guys compete, Carleton and Queens, that is. And Pat, what sort of things are kind of the Queens Golden Gales looking forward to in the future? What's new and exciting coming up for the Gales?
Well, as you know, the character of our program is, it is what it is, and it's a cyclical phenomena. We get a group of kids in, we bring them through the cycle, and we're a pretty good football team when we get inundated with seniors. It's well known that we probably don't reload as fast as some other places, and that's just one of the characteristics that we live here. We're a little bit of a slow developer. We have high academic standards. Every kid that gets in here has to be a great student. So, to find enough of those to be able to compete athletically at the highest levels does take a little bit more time. No apologies for that. But we will get our shot. About every 3 or 4 years, we're going to have, a kick at it. Our last kick came in 2013 when we ended up, we went 7-1. We ended up against Western in the 8th Cup game. Unfortunately, after that game, we graduated 21 starters. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Okay, we lost a lot of talent, we lost a lot of experience. So the 2014 group was an athletic group, but it was also young. And in the Carleton game, for example, we had 6 freshmen starting on defense. And they scrapped. It was a good game, but I think to really be a national contender, you need to have some guys that don't have any more peach fuzz on their face. There's got to be some men out there, and so this year, what we'll be is we'll be a little bit older. We will be athletic, hopefully a little bit more resilient, and be able to hang in there with the big boys in the big games. And so I thought we won a few games. With the game against Carleton at the end of the season, it was the best game that we played all season. The kids kind of came together well. Carleton is a very athletic team, particularly in the secondary and also at receiver. I think they are going through some growing pains also on the line of scrimmage. So the teams were well matched. It was a good game. I think, like most games, it boiled down to mistakes. I think that there were a couple of big play mistakes, that probably led to about 14 points. That was a difference in the score. And, both teams will be working to correct those errors next year, and we'll be lining up against each other on August the 30th.
Oh, is that right? Well, okay, so
correct.
this is new breaking news. I'm not sure you were aware of that either.
I was not. I'm happy to hear it, though.
Well, there you go. So
and it'll be in Kingston on the grass, so you fast guys will be a little slower. That's good.
So that's what we've got to look forward to, and I'm sure we can count on seeing you guys at some Grenadiers games. So we're also looking forward to catching up with you guys in the summer.
Absolutely, and best of luck with your endeavors, and I appreciate you guys doing what you can to promote the cause of CIS football. Much appreciated.
Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
My pleasure, guys.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye. Bye.